Morning, everyone. This video is going to be a little different than normal. It is a topic I wanted to do, after coming back from Capital City Meltdown, and I guess I finally just got in the mood to record it. Um, Probably like 9 months ago, I did a video called like Attitude Check, where I kind of ranted off about things that opponents do that I don't like, blah blah blah, and it was very like negatively toned. And even nowadays, I think as I've grown as a player and everything, maybe it's just because I'm much older now than when I first started wargaming, and I remember what I was like back then. Uh, I guess I just have some comments on like growing as a player and being a good opponent, but not in the same style as I used to. I used to make videos that were a lot more ranty, a lot more like screw this model and blah blah blah, and like bashing people and all this stuff. But nowadays I try not to do that as much in my videos. I try to be a little more open to everybody. And, not everybody wants to play to, be the best or win every game and play the perfect models. And I don't feel like there's a reason anymore to totally destroy them for their opinions and maybe thinking from their side where maybe it can work and blah, blah, blah. I think the biggest thing I took from Capital City Meltdown was just how different a great opponent makes the game, right? So, in my opinion, some of the greatest opponents I've played in Malifaux was Larry Matola. These are good friends of mine, and Gurn or Eric Woodall, as people know him, and they were just on Travis's podcast, and instead of ranting about what people do necessarily that makes me mad, this is what makes them, in my opinion, some of the best opponents I've had. Albeit one big reason is they are top opponents. They play the game very well. I've played some amazingly nice guys who are not that good at the game, and it's hard to compare to a great game versus a good opponent because you can be the nicest guy in the world, but if you just throw models out there and like the game's over in 2 turns, it it will fill my like, yeah, it'll be great and I'll like talking to you, but it won't fill the competitive side of me, which is I want a good game and I want to feel like, wow, I had to really think and I came out on top, or even if I lost. I mean, to be fair, two of the best games I've had in the last like 3 or 4 months have been losses, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I don't mind. I walk away and I'm like, damn, that was a good game, and it made me think. But um, some things they do, and other people do. I'm just calling out them because I've played them recently in events. Uh, One is very vocal, very talkative about intent. There's no real gotcha moments. You know what I mean? Like we both know what we're trying to do, and we're both will help each other out to get to that point. If you want to put somebody just out of 10 inches in cover, I'm going to help you make. I'm going to make sure you're not in line of sight if you don't want to be in line of sight. Um, Intent is a very big thing, and very cordial with intent. If you forget something 2 seconds before, I forget to reckless or something, which he'll definitely be like, yeah, of course you're going to reckless. I understand stuff like that. There's no like debate about timing and stuff on that kind of sense. Obviously, if it made a big deal to the game and it was like the information I got while missing it, like would influence my decision, that's one thing. But just like randomly being like, oh yeah, that crit strike, it went off on Bert, blah blah blah. I think the biggest one to me, and it's the one that bothers me most, and I hate. I can't like when opponents complain about anything, like to me, and they get like super sad and salty. I hate it. Like I can't. Like that makes me want to like quit the game. You don't even not even like abusive like salt. Just like being like very mopey and like blaming your hand and blaming this and like anytime that they blame you, I just want to be like I just want to like quit the game. And sometimes it impacts me, and I shouldn't because it's a tournament. But sometimes, especially if I know the person, better than just a random person. It makes me want to almost play less. Like I don't want to try as hard sometimes because they start like getting real. Like you do something and they complain about it, and then you're like, oh well, wait till you see the next thing I'm about to do to you because you made a stupid mistake. and then you're almost like, oh, should I do it? Should I not? Because they'll just complain. I don't want to hear it. Um, like almost like digging the knife in, turning the knife when it's in there type thing. But at the same time, I've almost been screwed, if you do like hold it back a little and then you realize, oh shit, something goes wrong on there, on your end, and then you're almost lose because of it. So I think for me, players, I just wish they would stop complaining to their opponent, like right in the middle of the game. Like I think that is the worst form any opponent can do. Like it's the like if you want to play the rules really tight, like I think Duncan plays the rules tight, though he's pretty gracious about things too. But he doesn't like super complain. And I love that. I love playing him was great. But you could be the nicest guy in the world and complain about everything, and it breaks the game for me. I can't stand it. And it's one thing to like react, and it's one thing to just like be super sad and stuff. Like there's definitely a fine line, but a lot of people tend to cross it, I think, and they don't know it. I personally try to be a lot more like stoic, or not stoic's probably the bad word, like rigid. Like if I see jokers, I just go, all right, 0 or 14, or here's 10 damage, here's a black joker 0 damage, and it's actually I felt improved my play recently because I was speaking to Travis, and I don't remember many like big quote unquote joker situations. Like people always like to talk about how this joker screwed me, this joker I black jokered this, it was awful. While those moments definitely it didn't change where I just have no moments where it mattered, the jokers mattered. I feel like because I react less and I just move on with the game, it just lasts with me less. Like I don't think about the game, like even though I can point to me, oh, that joker kind of sucked. But at the same time, because I don't make it a big deal, I'm just like, all right, I can focus on other parts of the game. It doesn't feel like the negativity of jokers feels less because I don't give it the satisfaction of making me upset. And the same with opponents, when they're salty opponents, some people like to defend themselves or like make them feel better, and and then it kind of lingers. And a lot of times I just keep playing the game and they'll get over it. Like if they don't get their attention they want from like you, I just it's whatever, and they'll get over it and you walk away. It's not your fault. Their happiness is not my. If I'm a good opponent, their happiness with how the game's going and how they feel, it's not my problem, right? They got to get over that themselves. But I mean, that happens in every war game. Malifaux is not much different than Warhammer, though. I want to say I feel like I've experienced it more in Malifaux, but I've also had some really great opponents. And like I said, so not only is people like Larry, they don't take luck. They don't talk about luck. They just play the game, and it's just they don't complain. That's like I don't know why I made a whole video about this because my big thing is stop. I hate when people complain. Like you can be my friend if you are complaining during the game like heavily. It just irks me so much. On top of that, they're great players, which makes for a better game. Of course, I do feel Malifaux is very skewy in that sense. Like if you're an amazing player versus a weak player, the game is just usually not that fun. Um, but that's life. But I think that's just growing as a player. People need to kind of, and I maybe, and I kind of questioned myself. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm older now. I'm almost 29. I'm not like 18 anymore playing with 30-year-olds. I am like the 30-year-old, and most people are slightly older. Or, there's not that many super young people playing Malifaux with us. I always wonder, is it my place to tell them? Because we talk among each other about people we meet and people we've all played against, and being like, they're kind of bitchy, and I don't like playing against them. Is it my place to say, hey, man, I can't, like, I can't stand it when you do this. You got to stop. I can't. It makes for a bad game. As an opponent, do you want to hear that? Because one thing that always stuck out to my mind, antidote or whatever. I played in a tournament, and I got to play my idol when I was playing Warhammer. He was my idol when I started playing. Matt York. He played Skaven, blah blah. I got to play him, and I ended up beating him with my Tomb Kings, whatever. But I was getting really excited, And I was young. I mean, no, I'm not 20 something. I was like 18 or 17 or something. And I got really excited. Like, and he said something to me about it. He was like, "Oh, something about calming down a little bit. Not in a mean way, but just it just stuck with me. I was like, oh wow, I really was being like throwing it in his face unknowingly, like being like, "Ha, I'm the best." Um, so from that really like hit me a little hard, where I was like, oh man, like maybe I should change how I act. And I've been watching my old videos and talking to some of the people who listen to them, and you can tell that they really like they enjoy what I say, and they a lot of them follow what I say, but at the same time, they're just guys that have their own. They just have fun playing the game. Not everyone is trying to be the greatest player, and I feel like some of my negativity, it hurt. Like because people watch this stuff, when I'm negative about a model, like super negative, like, and I'm like fuck fingers, blah 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 blah. You suck if you use this. You suck if you do that. It just shines a negative light that I don't want to shine anymore. I'm trying to be a little more. What's the word? I don't know, open to everything. If I don't think Matak is that great, I can say, hey, this is what I think she has problems with. It's just harder. And here's how it could be better. Instead of being like, fuck Matak, if you use her, you're a piece of shit type thing. So I think my videos have been coming across a little more mature in that case. But I just want people to be a little more mature when they play. I guess that's really it. But Larry is like a great opponent. Like I walked away from that game and was just like, this is the kind of game of Malifaux that keeps me playing the game, right? This is the game that I'm just like, damn, I want to go back, I want to get better, I want to grow from it. And growing in Malifaux, is a lot harder than it's not. I think people don't take advantage of what they can learn from games as much as they should. I mean, even myself, I went to Capital City Meltdown, and I spoke about this in my other podcast about just how, man, I went in thinking Wong was the easiest shit in the world. I mean, I played Wong before, and I just had these lists. I'm like, it's going to rock the house and blah blah blah, and it didn't work as well as I thought. And I'm like, man, my list just sucked, blah blah blah. And honestly, I played poorly in some instances. I didn't play that great. I picked weird lists for some of the scenarios. Like I can tell I didn't have the experience with Wong that I did Sommer at that moment. And it almost cost me a couple games, and it probably did cost me versus Larry. But to reflect on that, because I had he was such a great opponent, and I when driving home by myself for 6 hours, you have a lot of time to reflect on the game and grow as a player. And this kind of comes back to that whole whining thing. Is you have two options. You can bitch about what you played against and being broken and it being and I had bad flips and my cards sucked in my hand and blah blah blah. Or you can say, what did I do better? What do I need to do better? What kind of didn't work as right? Why didn't it work? I thought to myself, man, I have all these fighting models. I have zero card cycle. And I have all these fighting models. And I only have so many cards in my hand, right? So if I'm looking at 3 Seviers or 3 high cards, I'm depending on flips for everything else. And everything else is like a high octane potential, right? You don't charge in Frank and just hope to God you're flipping, 12s off the top of your deck sometimes. Because if you don't kill it, like when you have. So this is getting more Gremlin related. Maybe I should save this for another video. So I won't talk about it here. Point being, it's reflecting on the game and thinking about how to get better, and talking to people what they thought. Should this I think the big one in the Wong series was positioning of my models and what their roles ended up being. I just took a bunch of fighting models and realized, I need to scheme, and then one of my fighting models had to scheme, and I was like, well, this is a waste of points. Why didn't I bring a scheme runner? So things like that. I think that was, I didn't use Wong very well. Just reflecting on the game to get better, and I feel like going in, maybe it opened my eyes to maybe why people take Zip more, or, I really like Sommer for these reasons because I felt like I had more control and more options. But it definitely re-energized me to play the game and to get better going forward. So now I have UTS coming up in 2 weeks, and I'm pretty excited. I don't know what I'm going to play as far as Masters yet. Probably Wong and Sommer. To be fair, I want to kind of win the games, but you know, it got me excited more for Malifaux in general, and I do. I put a lot of my excitement for Malifaux around the games I get in tournaments because, you know, if I came away with like 5 mediocre games of just people who complained, I would probably not be as excited for this tournament as I am now. Um, so I thank players like that who really make the game enjoyable. And if you're a weaker player and you're losing, badly, the same, you can lose gracefully, and like I said, it won't be my best game in the world if you just get crushed by me, or if I got crushed. I mean, let's be fair. If I just randomly like get crushed, it's not that fun. But you can do it gracefully, and you can do it in a where you ask questions about how to get better and all this stuff, and make it like at least get something out of the game besides just complaining and walking away and stamping your feet. Especially the people like there's people who like know they're gonna lose to me, which is stupid. First off, you can think that you don't have a good chance, but I'm always gonna be beatable. Anybody's. I mean, I can go up to any game and say I can win this game, right? There's no reason to like, and I hate when people put that on someone else too. Sorry, this is a big one for me, right? Even if your chance to win is 10%, I'm just making up numbers. Like, a lot of people resign themselves to losing, and that puts too much. I hate the pressure that puts on an opponent. Like, normally it's on me, right? Because I don't really do it to other people. But it just kind of makes this like, oh, you're so good, I know I'm going to lose. And then they still try, which they should. But now it becomes a, haha, if you lose, like, they put all the pressure on you that, I know I'm going to lose. I know I'm shit. I know you're going to win. Oh, you didn't win? I must be, you know what I mean? Like, it's unnecessary. I don't like when people don't have don't push your lack of confidence onto me and kind of make it kind of like a game where it's like either you either beat me or you're a piece of shit. Like then it's on me just to win. I don't know. It's like a weird feeling. I feel like people don't know when they do this stuff in general, and maybe other people don't see it or have it. It affects me a lot. Like it really like bothers me. I don't tend to tell my opponents this. It's just easier just to beat them and get the game over with. But yeah, that's my kind of rant on getting better and being a good opponent. I mean, just stop complaining, play a solid game. Understand that you're kind of. I don't want to win because my opponent forgot something stupid, right? I've reminded people of their rules of like they don't take damage here, or they have a trigger here and stuff. I tend to remind them of like things like that, or at least the options. I tend to remind people of options. I don't pick for them, right? I don't make every decision for them because that would just be dumb. But you don't want to win because of something like super stupid. At least I don't want to win that way. And like I said, rarely do I lose because like I think this way, right? This is not like I'm screwing myself out of a win. It's more just to be a good opponent, in general. And I think it makes the game better for me and for them because then it potentially stops their whining of like, oh, I forgot this, blah blah blah. But that's it. I didn't want to be super complaining. It's not a long video. Um, yeah, I just really want to talk about that. It really did affect me, the tournament, and how good the game was, and how some people whining bothers me. And then how just I'm ready to play more Malifaux. I'm just excited, not to paint. Hopefully I don't have to paint anything. But yeah, maybe I'll play. We'll see what happens, and I'll make some more videos about other things. I had a topic that came up from Wong that I want to talk about. But anyway, thanks for listening.